Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from One Rock, an economic development alliance committed to building a connected ecosystem in Greater Rochester, working to position the region to effectively compete for jobs, talent, and investment. More at oneroc.com. And Oriental Rug Mart, featuring a variety of hand-knotted and machine-made rugs from around the world, committed to helping people transform spaces through the art of textiles, located at Eastview Mall and online at orientalrugmart.com.
From WXXI News, I'm Leah Stacy, and this is Connections. Our connection this hour was made more than a decade ago when City Newspaper began doing an annual issue called the Rochester 10. While I did contribute to a few of those issues in the past, I confess I don't know where the idea really began. But when I landed here at City, I knew we should bring it back. We first did so in August 2023, and now we are on our third consecutive Rochester 10 issue on stands now. I always like to clarify that the Rochester 10 isn't a top 10 or best 10 list. It's more like a gratitude list, our way to thank a group of people making the city a better place to live, work, and play. College degree doesn't matter, age doesn't matter, demographic doesn't matter. What matters is that the individual is doing good for the greater community. As we selected this year's Rochester 10 cohort, a quote from beloved PBS show host Fred Rogers came to mind. Look for the helpers. In this month's pages, you'll find 10 such helpers, people who are contributing time, energy, and passion to make our city and beyond a better place. From creating art and community building to putting food on tables and wielding the power of words, this cohort is making an inarguable impact. And as in years past, they were chosen through nominations from both staff and contributors. The 2025 Rochester 10 is Victor Antonetti Jr., Quinn Bowie, Adam Chodak, David Corbin, Marie Adelina de la Ferriere, Timothy Long, Catherine Marino, Lavon Shepard, Julia Tedesco, and Midge Thomas. Each profile features photos by Roberto Felipe Lagares with art direction and design by Jacob Walsh. The profiles were written by Kellen Beck, Sydney Burrows, Gino Finelli, Patrick Hoskin, Justin Murphy, Jessica Alpevia, Rebecca Rafferty, Helena Shumway, myself, and Veronica Volk. You can pick up a copy on stands now to read all these stories, or you can read them online. And today, we're in conversation with two of the city team members who made this issue happen in big ways behind the scenes. And I say this because I was out of town for like a solid week of this at a conference, which was, I don't know, the worst timing ever. And it happens every year. But we're going to chat with them, and I'm going to introduce them in just a second. And after the break, we're going to also hear from a contributor who pitched a very creative story for this issue. And I'm going to let him talk much more about that. So my guest this hour, Roberto Felipe Lagares. I don't say that like Evan does. Multimedia reporter for City. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I feel like you need to re-say your name because it doesn't have the flair when I say it.
Roberto Felipe Lagares.
There you go. I feel better. Jacob Walsh, art director for City.
Hello.
I got your name down. I got the Irish names. I'm good on those. And joining us after the break will be Matt Rogers, founder of The Lost Borough and contributor to City Magazine. If you're in the Finger Lakes, you can listen in on our Geneva station, WEOS 89.5 FM. If you'd like to join the conversation otherwise, you can email us at connections@wxxi.org, or you can call 844-295-8255 or 585-263-9994. And we love to hear from you. This is going to be a very behind-the-scenes type of show, sort of pulling back the curtain on not only how we put the issue together, but maybe sneak peeking a few things for the coming year, because we're going into what I like to call our busy season with arts preview stuff coming up. And we have a city social this week, so we'll talk about that. But let's kick it off with the two of you, because I have talked enough. Jake, this is one of your favorite issues to design. I know that.
It is.
And I feel like you even took a bigger role this year.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, walk us through your process on this issue.
This issue is, like you said, one of my favorite issues to do every year. I think of the 12 issues we do on a yearly basis, there are two that kind of completely break the format of what we do and kind of switch up the way the book is built. So for the Rochester 10, I am given a lot of a lot of runway to sort of do a custom style for the book. And that's exactly what you'll find if you pick up the August issue of City. The entire back half of the book is entirely dedicated to these 10 folks in our community. Yeah, we did all of the photos in-house this time around, so it was easier for me to like get really involved with Berto and sort of plan it together, which was great. And yeah, I think we were really intentional about how we wanted to do it. Like there was nothing that was really left up to chance between the two of us, I don't think, right? Unless there was.
No, I agree. Yeah.
There's
No.
always a pivot or two in this
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration of the cover and then just the through line with all the design?
Totally. The thing about this issue is that the subject matter is more or less the same every year. The people are different, but the idea and the spirit of the thing is the same, which is kind of a blessing and a curse for someone with my job, because you are either kind of struck by inspiration or you really need to pull it out of yourself. And this year, I'll admit I was in the latter camp. I needed to figure out something that would work for I don't want to call it a generic issue, but something that is essentially I am styling 10 containers for things. So I was thinking back to like what's going on in my life visually right now? Like what can I tie together and find a through line for, and then sort of apply it fundamentally to like what the Rochester 10 means. And I will pull these 3 threads together right now and just like fully pull the curtain back. I was drinking a lot of Shirley Temples this summer, so there's a lot of red in my life, and there are a lot of circles in my life because I've got jars of maraschino cherries in my fridge, and ginger ale or ginger beer or whatever has like carbonation. So I was thinking like red, orange, grenadine, cherries, August. And it's going to be sort of hot outside, like warm. So I'm thinking of that. The font choice is a font called Violetta, which to me looks a lot like the font that you'll find on like fancy cherries, like non-Luxardo cherries, but like Italian cherries that are kind of soaked in their own like cherry juice. So that's kind of the font. And then a lot of the times when I'm looking for something to just sort of like shake up my brain a little bit, I will go to Savers in Webster and look through the used books because they don't make them like they used to. And I will look through all of these trade paperbacks and coffee table books, and I'll go home with a lot of them. And one of them that I picked up recently was a book about modernism as an art movement. And a lot of the stuff that was featured within that book, besides the large like brutalist statues that were put in place by governments in the 20th century, was also like beautiful vases and vessels. And the second the word vessel entered my head, I like had everything that I needed. It was like, what am I drinking? What's the weather like? I bought a book. And that is kind of how the style for this whole thing came together, because if you look through the book, you'll see a lot of seemingly arbitrary shapes. Those are vessels that I found in this book. Vases and vases, I guess. Vases and vases.
I think it's an amphora, right?
Amphora?
Yeah, so I was showing someone the cover, and there is like a name for this type of vase, and it has Greek origin.
Oh.
And it's amphora.
What? See?
Kind of fun.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah.
And so that is kind of what I was going for here. You'll see them behind the portraits that Berto took of all 10 of our Rock 10. And then you kind of see them all ganged together on the front with this typeface, which, by the way, the font is called Violetta, and the typeface, the specific type, is called Violetta Giardinera, which is the biggest, chunkiest version of this text. I love this font, and I made a bunch of different gradients based on what I would see when I closed my eyes and stared at the sun last month. So there's a lot of my stupid brain in this, but I do think that it kind of coalesces around an aesthetic that Berto and I talked about from the beginning, and he was very, very gracious with his photography to like set me up to keep layout in mind, like from the beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he can talk about that because that was all in the studio, and that is all Berto. I realize I've talked unbroken for like 5 minutes about Berto's photography.
It's interesting. And I think, so Berto, this is your first year working on the Rock 10 issue.
Yes.
Because you have only been with us since October, which is crazy because I feel like it's been longer in a good way. But the two of you spent a lot of time in one place with a few field trips, which I'll let you talk about.
Yep.
So, yeah, how did taking the portraits shape up this year, and how did that process go, and where did you do it?
Yeah.
For the most part.
So for the most part, I have to shout out Rochester Photo Space, which is an analog photo space studio in the Anderson Arts Building. They let us use their studio, it was incredible, because one thing we talked about was trying to establish a very uniform look. But we also had to keep in mind that we are dealing with 10 people doing great things, which usually means they are busy. So like coordinating,
it's summer.
it is literally, it is the busiest 10 people you can probably choose from our city right now, and saying, hey, in the next 2 weeks, we need to get you all together. So we did our best to do that. Rochester Photo Space really allowed us to have like that central location, and also allowed us to have like consistent lighting, consistent setups and whatnot. So, aside from 2 portraits, we just made some accommodations to make sure that everybody was photographed, and comfortably so. So, yeah, I mean, we were able to establish that consistent look, so that way the theme wasn't compromised, and it was great. I mean, you probably couldn't tell, where these were shot, which is kind of the point, and knowing that we wanted that clean look.
And you prompted them with a couple things, right? So when you initially reached out to them, there was sort of, it's funny because so much goes into this. Like people's schedules, there's emails, there's the writers coordinating with them. So talk about what you asked them to sort of prepare for this.
Yeah. So first things first, at least for me, it's always wardrobe. It's like, hey, there's the backdrop. Please don't wear, too many. Usually it's like, I would say stripes are probably like the biggest one, mainly for video.
Yeah.
And then also, hey, don't wear white because it will be a light backdrop. So that's like number one. So coordinating that with people, again, 10 people, 10 different styles. You're hoping that they have something in their wardrobe that's going to work out. We also asked them to bring a prop. And that kind of all comes into just like maximizing everyone's time. You don't really know, like we have the general idea, but we also like know that we're only going to have these people for a short amount of time. How do we like maximize it so we don't have to go, circle back, as my team's chat would say. Yeah, and so we're like, hey, bring a prop. Also, we're going to ask you 3 questions on video. Also, it's going to be a little warm.
Yeah. Yes.
That was the other big one.
How warm was it?
That was the undersell of the century, that it was going to be a little warm.
A little warm.
Yeah, it was the hottest week of the year.
Yep.
Everyone handled it like a champion. Everyone was really, really gracious with their time.
And about how long did each one take, if you were going to average it out?
Oh my God.
25 minutes?
25
minutes.
In and out.
Yeah.
So talk about what happens. Like somebody walks through the door. I also want to hear about some of the props that people brought. I mean, you can see them in the pages here, but I want to hear from you. So like, was there anybody that walked in with a prop and you're like, all right, let's go?
1,000%. I'll let you say it.
Yeah. I mean, everyone had great props.
Of course.
But the first one was actually Catherine.
Where's she at? Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and it was awesome because like, we weren't sure what she was going to bring.
And what did
we
she
didn't
do?
know what anyone was bringing, first of all.
But you knew what she did.
Which we knew what she did.
Which is?
Should we spoil it or should we make
Yeah,
them go
you
pick?
could-
Oh, okay.
She's a clown.
This is a preview.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
No
Yeah.
spoilers.
All right.
You can pick up the magazine, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an artist.
Better in person.
She just opened a space.
Yes.
And she co-founded the first ever clowning festival here in Rochester,
Yep.
Rock Haha, which
So
makes me
cool.
laugh every
Yeah,
time.
It's
It's
the
awesome.
Which is probably the point.
Yeah.
Okay, so she comes in.
And she's got hats, not one, but multiple. And it was so great because, there's that break-in period. You've got 20, 25 minutes to like warm up to people you've never
Build,
met.
yeah, build rapport.
Yeah.
Like, that is no easy feat.
Yeah. And honestly, like, though it's 20, 25 minutes, like, we did the hard work early, so that way it's hopefully as like seamless of a 20, 25 minute span for everyone walking in, and hopefully they can speak to that.
Yeah.
And then we saw the hats, and it started with like kind of just brainstorming, what do you want to do with them? And then once we kind of got warmed up, it was like, what if I did this? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that.
It was very cool how it all unfolded. Because I'm in the room for all of these. I'm not doing anything. I was like letting people into the building, offering them water, offering them
Very key photo assist roles.
I love
first of all.
being a
Also,
PA.
Yes, absolutely.
I love
like,
the
But
logistics.
I feel like there's also I feel like you brought this dynamic because it's not then just them and Berto, right?
yes.
Right.
It's like there's other people and you have a very engaging way. You both are very engaging, very easygoing, like easy to be in a room with. And so I think that probably was helpful. And then you were helping prompt with some of the video stuff too, right?
Yeah, totally. There was, I think, to speak to something that you were touching on to maximize our time with everybody, there's a part of my brain that, and I think it's a part of my personality that kind of works its way into like how we do stuff around here, which is like, I want to make sure that everybody is like, knows exactly what they're in for. Like everything's on the table. And also to just, without any sort of judgment, just be like, hey, this is kind of weird. Like, especially if you are, someone who is being recognized for their work in the community and is largely unrecognized otherwise by like the media or like a lot of people. So to take these folks who are I would say there's a level of humility to everyone that is nominated for the Rochester 10 because they are not spotlight folks in any traditional means. So like, who knows if you've been photographed before? Like, who knows, what's going on? And I think the work that we did like up front, which you mentioned earlier, was very much like a part of my brain that is like, I don't want to surprise anybody, especially because they're being vulnerable and allowing us to take pictures of them. And like, they're going into a room with like two dudes that they've never met before. So like that can be very intimidating or strange or awkward or whatever. And especially for something like this, where folks are like, oh man, maybe I'm not used to being photographed, or maybe this is not something like normal for me. Granted, there's on-camera talent in this. Like Adam is comfortable on camera.
Yeah,
And
some
I would say
performers, but you're
Yeah.
right. There is a handful of them who this is not their forte.
it's not their normal bag.
Yeah.
They're not always doing this.
Right.
And I think a lot of that was like, let's get all the details ironed out to the point of like, here's the door you go in. Here's my phone number. If you have any questions, like, let me know. We can talk about it. And then that kind of would bleed into the photo session too of
Yeah.
like, I would put on music, and we would just sort of try to like make it as casual as we could.
Yep.
And then Berto is a very tactful photographer, and it just kind of it's one of those things where it just kind of starts. It's like when you're getting a shot, you're like, oh, that's it. Like, that's the end. Oh, wow. And then it's over. And I think that speaks to your mastery of like taking pictures of people. And it was great. It worked really, not to pat us on the back, but it went really
smooth.
well.
Yeah, very smooth, and also like not having to worry about the small details because we had two brains working on it really helped. So like when I'm checked out and I'm like focusing on gear or settings or just making sure that certain things aren't out of place, they're comfortable because they have someone there who's paying attention to them, talking to them, and then we kind of like go in and out of that. So it was just a really good team effort. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
And then there were a few that you actually went to them.
Yeah.
Yes.
So talk about like, how do you land in someone else's space? Let's talk about Midge's space, because I think that's a good example. You had very different lighting situation. So just like from a technical aspect, you are shooting with this sort of end goal in mind. But how do you land in someone's space? You're the newbie, and you have to build rapport, and you have to troubleshoot the tech issues. How did that go?
That's actually part of how the first sessions kind of like helped. And also kind of that whole like two brain scenario where we could go into a space, which Midge allowed us to come into her home and figure it out. And we did all that prep work, and also the experience of already doing, I think it was like 5 or 6 of them already at that point. So we kind of understood the workflow, and it was like, okay, we both have identified what the problem is going to be. And in this scenario, is like, okay, we're not fitting a 20-foot long like backdrop just like in the middle of this like room. And so like you have to pivot, and you know, him being able to communicate with everyone there while I'm like kind of sitting back and pulling my like Blue's Clues hat out and like trying to figure out like how are we gonna solve this. Like I know
Is that
a
a
few
PBS
things
show?
you know what,
Blue's Clues, no.
no, I don't
Oh.
think so. Nick Jr.
Viacom.
Yes.
Your Zoom hat.
In my
Yeah.
Zoom hat.
Yeah,
There
there
you
you
go. Yeah, and I'm solving that like technical problem, and knowing that like the biggest thing was like, okay, where am I putting my key light? I know exactly where I'm going to have that. The equipment was kind of set up to be portable, and also we never went into any of the spaces with all of our equipment.
That's true.
It was very much like, let's just go in first.
Yeah.
Normal greeting.
Yeah.
Oh, like first touch was never.
Yes.
Here's our.
It's like,
Here's
let's
all of our
bags.
gear.
Yeah, let's
Drop
see
it.
it first, and then we can figure out, do we need to haul this stuff out of the car? I
There
mean,
was
it
one-
saves our back, but
when
also,
when we were at Ms. Thomas's house, I saw the wheels turning. You were like, how are we going to get the seamless in here? And I was like, we're not doing that. It's very much someone's home. I remember
Yep.
and the second I think we both spoke it out loud, it was like, okay, cool. So we're just going to shoot this agast a wall. We don't need to worry about bringing the sandbags, the
Yeah.
seamless, the like all that stuff. Like, no.
and that's honestly the best part of having like the post-production, pre-production, and then also we're doing all three things together.
yeah.
Being able to kind of like use you as a sounding board, like, hey, I'm gonna shoot this like this. Do you think you can? Is this gonna work in post
Totally.
for you? For what we're gonna do, and being able to kind of do that without having to say that out loud.
Yeah.
That's probably the best part.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you can't tell that it's shot in a different space. Like if
That's-
you showed me all of these
how it
side by
goes.
side and I didn't know which ones you had shot in different spaces, I mean you guys really did it.
well,
It
Great.
worked.
that was yeah. We
So-
did.
So tell us about what we can expect, because you captured a lot more than just portraits. So what other content is coming up for people from these sessions? What can people expect to see, and where can they find it?
So first and foremost, if you're not following Rock City Mag on Instagram or following our Facebook page, you should be. And then that's because that is where you're going to find it. But we did like just brief interviews, I guess you could call them, right?
Yeah, it was like a short Q&A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few various questions that will be revealed in those videos, and just kind of like getting a little insight to who each of them are as a person. But it's one thing to read about them, but it's another thing to hear right from them. So
Yeah.
I think that was really fun, and it was a lot of, I mean, honestly, that's where most of the candid moments, and even the Now Up intro video, that's kind of what came out of that, was being able to kind of show, hopefully, how comfortable they were. And
Yeah.
I felt that was kind of like evident in that. So
Totally.
yeah.
That was my favorite part of the whole thing, was like, well, we are gathering these people because of their personalities and because of who they are. And we started each session with that part, like with the video portion and the interview portion of just like, let's get to know this person. Let's kind of try to shake off the stiffness a little bit. Not to say that anyone was stiff, but like if I was in this seat, I'd be stiff. Like, what's
yeah.
going on? Who are
It's a
these two
perfect
dudes?
icebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're already gonna do the banter. I
Yeah.
do that like in almost
Totally.
every shoot. There's banter, but to use it as a way of like opening up, and then also you have like direct questions that they can answer, and you get them to like realize like, hey, everyone was struggling on this answer. Like, this is not like you shouldn't have this ready to go. No one should have this ready to go.
Yeah.
So, and just being able to kind of laugh about that together. And then, the best part, I think you mentioned at one of the last shoots, was like, this is so great that we just get to meet like 10 of like the most interesting people.
Totally. It's a huge privilege to have the job of like, hey, there's the 10 coolest people in the city. You get to do it once a year. You meet 10 a year. It's amazing. I don't know. It's a huge honor. These are very inspirational and aspirational people, and there's no shortage of them. We'll probably never stop doing this issue if I had to guess.
I don't think so. It's funny because originally this year we thought, Well, it's 2025. Maybe we'll do the Rochester 25. And then I
was on the table for a little too long. I was like, when are we going to?
I came into the office a month ago? No, probably 6 weeks at this point. And I said I woke up at 3 a.m. and I had a panic about we're not doing that.
And the funny thing is, because it was my first one, I'm over here like, Leah, that's a great idea. Let's do it. We could do that.
Oh, no, this was Ryan's idea.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Ryan, you're on notice. I know you're listening up there. Because I was at my
We're
desk
about
and
to
I
get
was
a
like,
YouTube comment.
what?
My ignorance to it all was like, oh man, absolutely.
It's
Very
not
new guy.
ignorance,
energy.
It's optimism.
You were fresh.
Also, I will say,
keep that freshness.
we would have pulled it off. It would have been. It would have been
That's
fine.
the thing. We always make it happen.
It would
but
have been fine.
there was, I think
I would have taken a month off.
I think
afterwards.
quality over quantity in this case, and I think you're right. It's always 10 really amazing people. And if you are listening or watching on YouTube and you are curious about how to become a Rochester 10 or nominate a Rochester 10, you can email me, Leah at rochester-citynews.com. And you can nominate someone. You can nominate yourself. If you are in touch with anyone who freelances for us, they also do quite a few nominations every year. And anyone else on our staff or in the larger company, get in touch with us. We had nominations come in right after the issue last year. I held on to at least one of those, and at least one of those people is in this issue because they were such a great fit. So we love the nominations. We don't want to pick all 10. We want them to come from different sources. We want them to come from different voices in the community and to represent those different voices. And I'm really happy with how this cohort does that. So I wish I could have been at every shoot.
I'll tell you, it's an enviable thing.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
It was a really good time. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Great.
And to any of you listening, I hope you had a good time as well. Because we did, I know.
But we're going to take our only short break of the hour. And when we come back, more from our guests, and also Matt Rogers will be joining us. And we will see you back here in just a few minutes.
Support for your public radio station comes from our members and from Bob Johnson Auto Group, proud supporter of Connections with Evan Dawson. Believing an informed public makes for a stronger community. BobJohnsonAutoGroup.com.
And we are back talking about City Magazine's August issue, which is the 2025 Rochester 10. Joining us on the line is Matt Rogers from the Lost Borough. Hi, Matt.
Hi, thank you very much for having me.
We're so happy to have you, and so happy to have you contributing to City. I can't remember who reached out to who, but I remember cornering you at Fringe Festival last year after your show. And I think there are not enough people familiar with your work. So can you talk about what the Lost Borough is and how that got started?
Sure. Back in 2013, I was kind of trying to figure out what I wanted to do with having a formal graphic design degree and always being that kid in the corner sketching things from school, and also being a really big history geek, and for very, very weird reasons, focusing on public rail of all things. And with Rochester being the smallest city in the world to ever have a functioning subway system and then abandon it, all of these different points kind of met. And I started making T-shirts that celebrated different aspects of Rochester history, and that has just exploded into walking tours and posters and Fringe Festival shows, and now turning on my writing brain and doing articles for you guys. But I am forever a history geek who just happens to be good at art, and I try to tell as many stories as I can to showcase our little slice of paradise.
I love that. Are you from here?
I am. I'm born and raised here. I like to tell people as icebreaker is I was born in a hospital that no longer exists. I am a millennial, but that little factoid makes me feel ancient. And for those curious, there's two options. And to give you a hint, I am not Catholic.
Okay, then I don't actually know what it was.
Like
I was going to say St. Mary's.
No, I wasn't Catholic until I got married. But I was born at Genesee.
Okay, yes. So you pitched a very interesting story for this issue. And it was something that once I read your pitch, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense as just very on theme. But it was something that somehow we had never thought of and no one else had ever thought to pitch. So we called it a Rochester 10 retrospective. And you narrowed it down to 10, we'll say, individuals and or groups that were these past lives that really made a mark on Rochester. And I am ashamed to say I did not know of half of this list. And I am also from here. So,
Oh, no worries. It's something that, like, by virtue of what I do a lot of local art festivals, and I set up my booth, and I talk to people who are, much younger than me or who have lived in Rochester longer than I've been alive. And it is one of my biggest joys is to share stories that people that, remember when Wegmans actually had more than one city grocery store and they didn't know about a fact that I was sharing with them, or people that teach me stuff. I never want to come across that I know everything. I definitely don't. And, one of my biggest sources of info for creating, stories is from talking with fellow Rochesterians. And I know that we are not the only city to have pride in where we come from, but it is sort of unique that Rochesterians have this incredibly passionate nostalgia to talk about their backgrounds, their upbringings, things they remember, reminiscing, and it's very easy to, get into that and then start crafting stories based off of it.
do you think there's always a Rochester connection? You've heard this.
It's something that, whenever I travel outside of, the city, outside the state, outside the country, I am that guy that will wear something Rochester themed. And I try to be subtle. And, the stuff I make doesn't, only a couple times in like the 90 shirts I've designed has it actually said Rochester.
Yeah.
But there always seems to be a person that recognizes the graphic or the illustration or the name or something, and that's the Rochester connection. I have had it all across the country, East Coast, West Coast. Even when I was in London, there was someone that stopped me and we talked. Yeah, there seems to be a Rochester connection just about anywhere you go.
That's so fun. So how did you select this list of 10? Was it hard? Did you have to narrow it down from much larger? I'm hoping you'll say yes, because I want you to do this again.
Yeah, 100% yes. It was incredibly hard because there's so many people, and I was very, I made a point to emphasize, in the kind of intro of this article that these are 10 people of many, many more that have contributed on the regional, state, national, and international level. These are just 10 that kind of first came to mind and kind of were kind of an icebreaker that, I am always limited by how many words you can put on a page. I know you guys, I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm hoping that people will read about these 10 individuals, and that's just breadcrumbs, that they'll continue discovering about them. And, 100 words is not enough justice to fully appreciate all the contributions of these 10.
Yeah.
And then, there's even more. So it's a wonderful challenge, but it is definitely a challenge.
Yeah. And so if people do want to learn more, where do you send people? You send them to the Lost Borough, you send them to the library. Where's the best place to do a little bit more digging on your own?
That I do, I do have events on my page where I will do lectures and I'll do walking tours. And, the Fringe Show, I'm doing a new one this year. And I try to, if people are interested, it's thelostborough.com. And there's an events page there that I try to keep updated. The biggest place that I send people is the second floor of the Rundell Library. The local history division, everyone I have worked with in there is more passionate about local history than I am, and they are awesome at helping. There was one instance where I came to them with literally a sentence of an urban legend that I had heard from a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. And I said, I can't find anything on this. Can you help me? And they came back with a book excerpt and 2 articles from defunct newspapers over like 100 years old and fleshed out the entire urban legend for me. And then I included that in a presentation I've given. So they are awesome resources. I can't recommend them enough. And they're right on the river in the old part of the city library.
Yeah, I actually feel like that's the part that is very haunted. That might just be me. There was a Fringe show in there one year, right?
Yeah, there is a legend that the lower level of the library, where the I forget what they call it, but it's basically where most of the books used to be kept.
The stacks,
would walk in,
Matt? Is it the stacks?
Yes. Yep, the stacks. And apparently, it used to be you'd go in and the librarian would help you, and if you needed a volume of something, they would have. I genuinely think the people that worked in the stacks were called stack rats. I'm not making that up. I believe that's what they were. And they would pull volumes for you and send them upstairs. Apparently, there is a haunting, that area was haunted, and there's been a couple of the ghost TV shows that have come to Rochester and specifically done tests and investigations. So you're not far off.
I know what we're doing for my 1-year work anniversary.
Oh my God.
Another ghost story.
You don't just want to go out for drinks or something? You want to go paranormally investigate something?
I think I've set a precedent here.
Matt, your Fringe show last year was about Parcel 5, right?
Yes.
And it was
called
we sat there and you talked about, I'm gonna let you. I was gonna say it was very murdery, but I'm gonna let you give a more official description. I just remember sitting there with my mouth kind of open the whole time because I was like, "Did that really happen?"
Yeah, it's so Parcel 5 and Liberty Pole Plaza. It was a listening experience. It's called The Unluckiest Corner, and it goes back to the very beginnings of human settlement in the area, and talks about all of the crazy stuff that happened. And the twist is it's all true. And you're, to quote Hamilton, you're in the space where it happened. So I talk about Sibley, I talk about Midtown. And what Lee is referring to was Rochester's first official murder happened right at the Liberty Pole. It was a railroad clerk who was coming home, and there was a gentleman who was looking to rob him, and he ended up shooting him, killing him, and he robbed him and left. And he was quickly apprehended, and he was convicted, and he was executed. But coincidentally, they're buried almost next to each other at Mount Hope Cemetery. The twist is the railroad clerk had like a couple $100 in bills and coins in his pockets. But his job as a clerk for one of the railroads, I think it was Tonawanda Railroad, was to pay the workers. And he had all of the wages that he was going to go back and pay the next day hidden in his hat, which came out to about $5,000 at that time that the robber had missed. And that's just one of the stories. There were rumors of a Native American burial ground right where the Liberty Pole is. There was a haunted inn and tavern that was called the Farmer's Inn. Again, you had the rise and fall of Midtown Plaza, rise and fall of Sibley's. Ton of stuff happened there. And I'm doing that again this year, but it's a new spot and it's a new story. It's called the Sights and Sounds District, and it'll be at the Austin Stewart Plaza, which used to be called Charles Carroll Plaza, and a ton of history happened there. So it's really excited to share, more stories that people don't realize happened. You walk down the street, you walk through a park, you may not realize all the awesome and crazy stuff that happened there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Can't wait to come to that show. Thank you so much, Matt. We're so glad, again, to have you contributing, and thanks for all of the work that you do to remind us the roots of this city. It's really important stuff.
Yeah, no, thank you again for having me and giving me the opportunity to write for you guys. And yeah, it's my absolute pleasure to share stories. And anyone that is interested in listening, I try to make it as infotaining as possible. I think it was Disney that coined infotainment, and educational, entertaining, and engaging. Because I will always defend Rochester that we are a mid-sized city that punches well above its weight. and there's a lot here to be proud of. Yes, we do have our dark spots, and I try very hard to recognize and not shy away from it. But there's a lot more positives here, and that's what I try to focus on.
That's great. Thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you again. Have a good one.
So again, you can find Matt's work at thelostborough.com, and you can find him hopefully for many more issues in our pages. And we're going to check out that show. The last one was so great.
Oh, yeah.
I remember it was a very hot evening that I was sitting out there, but I was just entranced by what he was talking about. So good stuff.
Yeah. The professional sports history in Rochester specifically is baffling to me.
Yes.
We're an NBA championship winning team from Rochester. Granted, it was like in the 40s.
Yep.
And then Matt touches on the New York Black Yankees and the Brooklyn Tigers as well on page 9 of City this month. It's so cool. Also, libraries. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
A free public utility. Libraries are awesome.
Topically today, we have an op-ed about the Nighthawks in this issue, and today the Seneca Nation announced that they have purchased the Nighthawks, which is a pro lacrosse team. It's actually our most pro team, which I learned editing this op-ed. And the Seneca Nation announced today that they bought them and they will be staying in Rochester. So that's our sports history continues.
A sporting town.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So in our last few minutes, I want to hear from both of you. You know, we're rounding out the year. We're about to do what we call our staff retreat, which is where we pick the themes for next year. And I would love to hear from the two of you. What are you excited to work on this year? We're going into arts seasons opening everywhere. We're going into Fringe Fest. Jake, what design-wise, what are you looking forward to?
I love, first of all, as I said a little bit earlier in the show, I love being prepared and I love being intentional. And to that end, we have started work already on the Best of Rochester. It is August and we're talking about the Best of Rochester.
Everyone's favorite.
Deja vu.
Yeah. It's
Welcome, Berto.
It becomes, and I say this in a positive way, honestly, because I think we're building it as we go, even though it's kind of this institution as we see it.
Yeah.
It's becoming a bigger and bigger to do every year, which I think it should be, and I'm happy it's becoming that way. And we're getting an earlier start on it this year than we normally do. And to that end, I am going right from like one blue sky design challenge to another, because it is a very similar thing where it's like deja vu. Truly, I spent all of July with Berto doing this, and then I took one breath. I got a tattoo from my friend Graham, and now it's time to work on another blue sky. Shout out to Graham. Another blue sky design opportunity, or design challenge rather, because the Best of Rochester it's the same thing every year. It's the best.
So
you guessed it, of Rochester.
Is your tattoo like a preview of the Best of design, or
it could be that, you know?
No.
It's
a secret?
It's no less valid than me drinking Shirley Temples and then making a red book.
Yeah,
Everything's on
you
the
gotta.
table.
Can you show
Everything's
your
on the table.
Can you show your tattoo for YouTube?
It's on my thigh. I wish
Okay,
I could,
so
but it is a.
The booth is saying no thanks.
The booth is saying no thanks. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate it. I wasn't going to.
It's in the no-fly zone.
Yes, truly.
Got it.
No, it's a Black Panther. It's right on my left thigh, and I'm thrilled to have it. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I really love doing the Best of Rochester every year, and literally as soon as I hang up the microphone, I'm going back up to my to my little booth, and I'm just exploring ideas with our creative director Ryan, and we're gonna see what happens. It's always one of those things that is high stakes, low stakes, because I'm not going to do it wrong. But it is going to be very visible. So I'm always thinking about that a little bit. So
Yeah.
If you have any ideas, let me know.
We'll be
Just kidding.
opening nominations for the Best of Awards very soon.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for that, and you'll notice the brand that I'm talking about right now. Whenever you hear about Best of.
Yeah, and then that technically is our January issue. So I feel like January is the end of our editorial year in a weird way, but that's our January issue. So it's always a kind of rah way to kick off the year too.
Yeah.
But yes, the party's going to be a bigger deal this year. We're working on some stuff around that, and we're just trying to make this more of a chance for people to get their flowers from the community. Because again, this is a completely voting-based award system. We don't choose any of it. We curate it, as we like to say. So, rally your community now so they can vote for you and nominate you and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Berto, what are you looking forward to? You're about to hit 1 year.
I am.
I mean, I guess we're 2 months out. But
What's the day? When is it?
October 1st.
October
my
1st.
gosh.
Wow, cool.
He started right after Fringe last
Like
year.
on
He's
the-
never been to Fringe.
never been to Fringe.
Ooh, keep
Not
an eye out
once.
for that.
Yeah, it's always been something I've been like curious about because I've just never been able to put my finger on it, and I've asked people and they're like, gotta go.
Yeah.
Can't explain it to you. I'm
It's
like,
fringy.
It's a time.
okay, all right,
Yeah.
got it. So yeah, I mean, I am excited for that because I just like going to new things, and I'm always partial to like food and bev, like the food and bev issue.
Yeah.
Am I wrong to assume we have a home?
We have a home issue in October. So, yes,
Yeah.
that's a great thing to talk about. September is our sort of arts preview every year. That one does not rotate. October rotates. We've done the death issue. And then, what was last year's?
We did the lore issue.
Lore.
The lore issue. Thank
Yeah,
you
that's
so much.
that was like what I came in.
Yeah.
But it had already been finished.
Yeah, so that was your, yeah.
Yeah.
And then this year, we'll be home. And we'll be looking at that in a very interpretive way. So it won't be like home interiors only. We might
Right.
have some of that, but a sense of home.
Yeah.
And then November is our food and bev issue. And December is always winter guide / some holiday-ish things.
Yeah.
And then best of. And then we start a whole new year with
Yes.
themes TBD.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of what I'm excited for. Is just like kind of that tail end of issues because I don't know. Those all are topics that I enjoy and like.
It's like our back to school.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like we're sharpening our pencils. We're
Yep.
getting ready to dig into the fall.
Yeah. I'm also
Yeah.
like just eager for fall in general, but that's besides the point.
So
I kind of
You're not loving this 90-degree weather?
I have way too many hoodies to be sitting here in shorts.
I know.
This is a lot. This
I know.
is too much for me.
When it
I'm-
gets to be August, I'm cooked. I'm done.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to have to go outside tomorrow
For what?
because we have a city social tomorrow.
Yes, of
Oh.
course.
I love that. I was like, is he like teeing this up for me?
Little
I
bit of
couldn't tell.
both.
I
Yeah.
totally knew that.
I'm in the moment.
For what?
I forgot. I'll be there.
So we'll be at Radio Social tomorrow for the Rochester 10 City Social. We have not been doing these monthly, but we have been doing them sort of quarterly. Our June one unfortunately got canceled, and so this is the first one we've done, I think, since March.
been a
Yes.
while.
I think the Irish issue was our last City Social.
Yeah.
So we will be doing this, Radio Social, 5 to 7. We'll have a special drink called the Helper, topical. And some proceeds of that will get donated back to City Champions Fund. And then we'll have our Rock 10 there if you want to meet them in person, mingle with them. Our team will be there. And the zoo is also having an event there that night. So they're doing like trivia after our event. But during our event, they're going to have some critters on site. So if that's sort of your thing.
I did not know this.
Yeah,
Tell
it
me
just
more
ended
about the
up
critters.
like, I don't know what they're
Depending
gonna
on the
bring
critter,
yet,
I'm
but I
excited.
heard it's like the Zoomobile or whatever that rolls around,
Oh.
and they just bring some things from the zoo.
Cool. I will be
So,
hard to find at
This will
City
be
Social.
layered.
I'll be
He'll be
in
out on the
critter
patio
zone.
with the Zoomobile. Yeah,
Cool.
and then we'll have snacks.
Yes.
So can't go wrong with some radio hummus.
I love this.
Yeah, so it should be a good time, and yeah, anything else you guys want to mention that's coming up?
Yes. Well, it's not too early to talk about this. Every year, City has a trivia night at Fringe Festival that I think. Are we talking about
not
that?
too early at all. Yeah.
Not too early at all. In past years, we've done it sort of silent disco style, and I've had
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit too much fun wielding the power of the microphone and like talking directly into people's heads because everyone's wearing headphones for these trivia nights, and
Nice.
everyone seems to have a good time. It was kind of a riot last year. Like it was people were going a little kooky there. We had Gino Finelli from WXXI wrote a bunch of news related trivia questions and got him on the mic and to like it's cool if you're if you're a Matt type and you love Rochester history, you may excel profoundly at Trivia City, which happens at Fringe every year, and will likely be hosted by me again if nothing bad happens.
I mean, unless you say you don't want to do it. But yeah, that right now that looks like it's going to be September 17th.
yeah.
And the time has not exactly been confirmed.
I think we can safely say it'll be at night.
It will be. Yes, it will be
It'll
in
be,
the
it
evening.
won't
In
be
the
one of
morning.
those classic crack of dawn trivia sessions.
Yes, and it will be at One French Place, which is sort of kitty corner from Gibbs Street every year, and we'll be probably outside the Spiegel tent under the Spiegel Garden tent.
It's fun.
I can't
It
wait.
is. It's a lot of fun.
It's a fun
Yeah.
time.
Come to my first Fringe trivia, please.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, we got to get you to do something too.
Yeah,
maybe
I'll
you'll
be-
read some
He'll
of the
be
questions.
writing
Me up there.
questions.
co-hosts.
Co-host.
Ooh.
Oh.
Co-host energy.
Oh man, we got a lot to
be crazy.
We got a lot to nail down. We got the whole visual language for Best of. You and I have to figure out how to do co-hosts, which will be easy because we did that for Rock 10.
Yep.
Cool. Wow, we've got our marching orders. It's gonna be a busy fall.
Yep.
Yeah,
Matching outfits.
we're already doing it. If you're
Nice.
watching the video stream, we got
Yeah,
two dudes wearing pink shirts.
I
It's very
feel
nice.
left out, and the thick necklaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Berto has a bigger chain. than
Drip or
me, but
drown.
That,
Yeah. All right, this is going off the rails. We got to let people get back to their Tuesday. But thank you so much, both of you, for being here.
Thank you for having us.
And yeah, we're going to hang up our microphones / headphones
They're never inviting us back.
and get back to work. But please come out if you're free tomorrow, 5 to 7 p.m. at Radio Social, 20 Carlson Road, right here downtown Rochester. We will be there. Our Rochester 10, at least a handful of them, will be joining us. And we always love to hear your feedback from each issue. So find us on social, send us an email. We're here. We're listening. Thanks so much.